Hello, Starcraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another weekly episode of Into the Void. This is Spectral versus BruteBrawn on Ulrena. In the top left of Ulrena, we have the red Zerg player representing Ghost Spec. It is Spectral. And in the bottom left of Ulrena, we have the blue Terran player. It is BruteBrawn, displaying the Starcraft's Happy Star logo. I'm always glad to see that. I love Starcrafts so much. BruteBrawn opening up. Don't you just hate Protoss? But Spectral does not take the bait. He's not going to start typing. Oh, never mind. ZVZ is bad too, says Spectral. Yeah, ZVZ is kind of hard for Zergs at this level, but hey, let's go ahead and get right on into it. This is Into the Void. For those of you that don't know, I cast one gold/silver, not gold, bronze/silver game every single week on Fridays. Thank you so much for joining me. If you too would like to submit a replay to the Into the Void feature, go ahead and send it to falconpaladin@gmail.com with the subject Into the Void. I will get your submissions to my screeners. They'll check them out, send the best ones back, and we'll get Anyway, every single week, again, that's falconpaladin@gmail.com. And let's see what's happening here in this game. It looks like it might be a Reaper Expand here from BruteBrawn. The timing on the gas and the timing on the barracks tells me it's likely going to be a Reaper. Again, a hatch first from our Zerg player. So this is a silver/bronze level game. It doesn't mean the players don't know at all what they're doing. It's really hard to find games actually where people at this point in StarCraft 2's world don't have a basic idea of how they should be playing this. Hatch first, NZVT is standard, Reaper Expand, and there it is also standard. The basic ideas are there. However, you'll notice things like timings are off. BruteBrawn here is, actually going for a reactor. He could be double pumping Reapers. Again, having a lot of gas, not really spending it quite yet. He did spend 50 gas on that reactor to make that happen, so that makes a little bit of sense. And look at this. Actually going for a hatch into extractor, into spawning pool, into a third hatch. The timing a little bit late on getting those drones into the extractor, and he had 4 just for a second. Again, those are little things that probably don't matter a whole lot at this level, but if you want to improve as a player, make sure you get 3 workers onto your gas as soon as it finishes. Don't get 4, even just temporarily. It can actually hurt your economy in the short run and even into the long run. Roach Warren is here from Spectral. I like that play from him. He did get a quick poke in with the Overlord. Let's see what he saw. He saw the refinery, he saw the command center, and that was it. Alright, if you're going to send an Overlord into your opponent's base as Zerg, go ahead and fly it over this way a little bit on this map. You can see what they're walling off with. You can see if that's a tech lab. On the barracks, if there's a quick factory, perhaps, if it's a 1-1-1 build with a starport on the way. You could also probably check for a command center. The distance here to fly for your Overlord is not that far. He doesn't know about this base. He doesn't know about the bunker at the front. He's pretty much playing blind right now. But you know what? Not as blind as our Terran player is. Look at this. No scouting whatsoever. This could have been an early pool for all he knows. There could be, 10 speedlings on the way that absolutely crush all of this. That's not enough that's too much, actually, for a bunker to stop with just 2 Marines on the inside. Trying to finish off the wall here, but again, would probably be too late if Spectral was planning on being aggressive. Meanwhile, I do like the fact that there are queens here, but you really need to be injecting. And oh no, did he throw down a creep tumor? He did, Spectral. You got a creep tumor down. I apologize for maligning your honor. Let's see if he can get an inject here at around 25 energy. And the answer is no, going for another creep tumor. So look at that. The timing is good. He prefers to have creep spread over injects, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with. Creep spread is great. It looks like he has an extra queen for that creep spread and one back at home to inject, but he's not actually using it in that manner right now. So again, Zerg players, you can get a bunch of queens, up to 2 per hatchery if you really want to. They're pretty good for defense. They do well against air units, especially. You can get a lot of creep tumors out while continuing your ejects on your hatcheries. But at this point, you can have all these queens not actually injecting and not actually spawning that many creep tumors. Again, there are 2, that's good, but with the number of queens that are on the field, he should have at least 3 out there right now. I guess that's a 3rd one. So nice and on Spectral. This is not a full wall off here from BruteBrawn. What do you think? You think Lings can get through that little spot there? I don't think they can. They can, however, swing around the backside and really ruin your day inside this mineral line. Possibly come up here as well with that supply depot lowered. Anyway, like I said, the basic ideas are here. I like what's coming from BruteBrawn. He has a factory with a tech lab. He's getting tanks out. Tanks are exceptionally good in ZVT, unless there are a lot of Ravagers on the field. They do well against Roaches. They do well against Lings. And there was an inject that just popped right there, so that's pretty impressive. Metabolic boost on the way. Again, 2 queens 2 queens not currently ingesting or harvesting larvae, at least not extra larvae, off of these bases. The worker count is 29 to 36 right now. Spectral has about 400 minerals or so. He is making, Allaire is making 3 overlords at the same time, still has a ton of minerals left. A is supply blocked, however, so that's something you really need to pay attention to at this level, is making sure you're making supply depots, making overlords, making pylons pretty much consistently throughout the game. If you forget to do that, and you're making units, as these players are good enough to do, as you can see, consistent production from them. 11 workers on the way, but a small push out from BruteBrawn with just Marines. Roaches at this level do very well against just Marines, especially if they have Queen support. A single tank probably isn't enough to win this incoming conflict for BruteBrawn. At this point, I think he's a little bit worried to move on to the creep, which makes sense. Zerg players get a bonus for moving on creep. Terran players do not. A scan here and killing creep tumors would be great, and there it is. Oh, actually taking splash damage from the tank on accident. That is not what you want to do at all. He actually had his Marines on top of the creep tumor, and then the siege tank hit it with its cannon. A lot of Marines took damage here. A bunch of these guys are in red and yellow, which just make them that much easier for the roaches to kill when the time comes for the attack. So be careful when you scan. If you have a tank in range, don't have your Marines right on top of the creep tumors. Have them a little bit far away, or possibly a little bit closer in this way. Once again, if you're going to make this many units early as Terran, you're planning on assaulting the Zerg, do it. Get in there and go. Yes, you'll probably lose a lot of your units. Yes, you're not going to necessarily kill the Zerg the first try, but if you just let the Zerg sit back and continue to macro up, get as many drones as he feels comfortable doing, allowing him to get higher tech like Hydralisks, possibly all the way to Ultras if you wait long enough. 2 evolution chambers actually on the way for a Spectral, then you're really going to have a bad time. You just have to be aggressive here. The Lings run on in. Oh, bad place to go, Lings. Every single one of those Lings ends up dead. 14 Lings have died so far. Ugh. Ugh. That was a lot of Lings. These chokes, especially on this map, don't run in there with anything you want to live. I mean, here's the thing. If you come in here, you're basically single file, even if you're Marines, which are a pretty small unit. Roaches come out here with the Concave and Hydras. You come out piecemeal. The people in the back of the line can't shoot because they're too far away. The tanks are too far away as well. You lose everything that comes through that section, and it's just a bad time overall. Lings, instead of going through this narrow choke or taking the long way around on this map, it is very long indeed, but there's nothing blocking it. You'd think you could come here, but look at this. There are rocks in the way, and you think you could come here, but this is a giant gap, so you have to run all the way around as these Lings to get in and try to kill stuff. And if they actually came in, they could probably force a cancel on that base. Meanwhile, here comes some medevacs to finally heal up these Marines that took that splash damage from the tanks. There's a bathing nest on the way for Spectral, an armory coming up for BruteBrawn, and armor level 1 as well as Stimpack being researched for our Terran player. Meanwhile, it looks like the wall is finished. This looks Zergling tight, except for the supply depot that's down. If the reaction time is good enough, might be able to raise it in time, but meanwhile, here comes a pretty big tank Marine push. The Roaches have pretty good spread, coming in a nice concave on the Roaches, taking big shots, however, from the tanks. Still alive, however, the Queens providing extra DPS as well, trying to get up there and kill those tanks, but all 3 tanks have actually survived, backing up, trying to get out of the range. The Lings coming from the back side, actually getting us around, killing one of the tanks there. There are still 2 alive, however, still a handful of Marines alive with medevacs healing them. There are Hydras popping on out, 6 more Roaches in production. But if they keep coming out piece by piece here, it's not going to be enough to kill this Terran encroachment. The Marines, Roaches popping out again. If they're on rally, no, they both die without doing anything but causing some splash damage on top of these Marines. Forced to pull drones and Queens out to try to deal with these tanks. The tanks did get left alone, which is a bit of a mistake here. The Marines really want to get on in there and kind of protect the tanks, because the things that get up close can kill them. Drones again fighting for their lives. The Roaches finally cleaning up the rest of the Marines. The medevacs are forced to go home with not much to show for it. They killed a lot of things. They did kill an extractor. They killed a lot of workers, actually. I shouldn't say they didn't do much. 12 drones died there. And another push is coming from our Terran player. Just a couple Marines here. Again, both players floating quite a bit of money. BruteBrawn up to 3,000 minerals. Spend your money. I know it's really hard to do at these levels, but you need additional, there we go, throwing down additional barracks, exactly what he needs. With reactors especially, can be useful to spend all these minerals that he's floating, and his gas income is not that high either. He really should be taking additional gas for the tanks and for the Marauders. He is trying to go for higher tech, and really only running on 2 gas geysers is just too difficult. Not going to work out for you in the long run. Nicely done transferring some workers over here, a little bit oversaturated, but taking a refinery, I do like to see that, and a refinery here as well. So 1 refinery per expansion is better than none. And again, +2 weapons on the way with Combat Shield. A Lurker Den is on the way for Spectral. And has he made any upgrades at all with these? No Evolution Chambers have not been used for... I guess he does have Ground Carapace and Missile Attack level 1 already. Oh, I missed that one. But indeed, the Roaches do have the armor, which makes them more survivable against siege tanks, against marauders. It's something that you really want to do if your opponent is getting tanks in ZVTs. Getting that +1 Carapace, it allows Zerglings to survive more than one hit from a siege tank in siege mode. And same thing for Roaches. They don't get one shot by the tanks. Lings don't anymore. And again, even if a unit is severely damaged, they still do full damage to whatever they're attacking. So alive is good. Anyway, picking up, creating some flying tanks here. Marines and Marauders absolutely massacring a Queen. Another Hydra ends up falling. These two Queens trying to do what they can. Hydras and Roaches moving around from the left side for a nice little flank here. Again, the +1 armor really helping a lot. Excellent, excellent concave. Trying to kill these tanks. Queens mixed in as well. Marauders coming up from the bottom side. Excellent, excellent work here against the Queens. Doing extra damage there. However, Hydras don't take extra damage from the tanks or from the Marauders. They're able to clean most of that up. Focusing down one of the medevacs, but still there is a tank and a Marauder and a medevac remaining. Not much to say from that original attack, but pretty well handled. Again, losing Queens is never anything you want to see as a Zerg player, but you know what? Losing drones and losing Queens is better than just straight losing the game. So if you have to defend with drones in this position as a Zerg, go ahead and do it. Try to extend the game, trying to get out there, try to replace them with your macro abilities, with the larva that you can use. Let's take and look how many larvae there are. There are 8 available, 800 minerals, 100 gas. Those could be workers from our Zerg player Spectral, but it appears instead they are not right now. Pushing up into 1,000, 4,000 minerals still here for BruteBrawn. Still having a hard time. He is consistently producing on his barracks, which is nice. Production tab does show 5 Marines and 2 Marauders at a time. Is that +2 armor? I think it is +2 armor. And yes, it is on the way. Excellent, excellent. The upgrades haven't been too bad here at the 12-minute mark from both of these players. Just still choosing to hold this base, or hold this section of the map. I feel like a counterattack from Spectral would just be absolutely devastating. This is not a planetary fortress. Terran players, if you take a base over here, your 3rd or 4th bases that are going to be far away from your main, far away from your attacking units, go ahead and make it a PF. Or at least make it an orbital command. Having straight up command centers doesn't do you any good at all. Command centers help your economy. Planetary fortresses help these bases survive if they're under attack from things like Lings or from Roaches. So for sure, go ahead and upgrade this guy. You can do it right here. Upgrade to orbital command or to planetary fortress, and you'll be much, much happier. A large Roach force here. It is 145 to 117 total supply in favor of our Zerg player. Lurkers morphing in. Hydras morphing in. Lurkers with a pretty good spread. Any Marines that run into this area here are probably going to die pretty quickly. Do they have any attack upgrades? They do still have that +1, which is 33 versus armored. Marines are not armored. However, Marauders are. Picking on up and moving back, trying to regroup. It looks like a small group of Lings is coming through with that counterattack that I was expecting to see a little bit ago. Where are they going? They're checking for additional bases, it looks like. They're just kind of hanging out. And BruteBrawn is getting ready for a big attack. How many Lurkers are on the field, though? 4 total Lurkers. Are there any more morphing in? I don't see any more morphing in. So 4 Lurkers, maybe not enough here. Picking up and, oh, actually doing a feint. You're worried about me coming through here, says our Terran player BruteBrawn. I'm going to drop right inside your main base. This is a great play from BruteBrawn. Dropping right on top of everything, not even bothering. Yep, it's actually sieging the tank there. A lot of drones dying, a Queen dying as well. Going after the Roach Warren, Evolution Chamber. The lair might actually fall. Where is the army? Where's the response? Some Lings coming from the backside, going to try to kill these units, but there are not enough Lings to do that. The remaining Roaches and Hydras come on up here. Get a nice, nice concave. However, the tanks in the back are splashing without remorse. Finally, moving on up, stutter stepping forward is Spectral, trying to kill everything on the ground here, and indeed, they do manage to kill everything on the ground. The medevacs head on home by themselves. Small group of Marines and Marauders walking through all of these spines. Wow, taking a lot of damage, not actually dying, but a lot of these guys are very low on health. So another pro tip here for you Terran players, if you drop inside a Zerg base and you do a lot of damage, like we saw there, Evolution Chamber died, Roach Warren died, a lot of workers died, and the army comes up to kill you, pick up and run away. If there aren't any Mutalisks, if there aren't any Corruptors on the field, you can escape. Get out of there without losing anything at all. Do your damage and save your units for another attack. Zerg players hate it when you do that. I can promise you that one. Roaches and Hydras, they don't want to go down there. They don't. They're, again, being very patient here. Spectral taking another base here. Nothing much happening here yet. But he does have that available. This is still not under attack. Those Lings that came through and came up this area to the backside of those Marines and Marauders and died, they could have actually attacked this command center, done a lot of damage, especially considering they had the extra +1 Carapace upgrade. +2, actually, on the way here as well. So... go ahead and do some scouting. I'm pretty sure he saw... Oh, he didn't see it. He doesn't know about this base either. So do some scouting, man. Lings are fast as the Zerg player. Run Lings into all of these bases, especially on big maps. I've been in positions where I'm playing against a Terran player and I'm waiting for them to attack. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And then I go out and I finally scout with some Overlords or something. And they have 8 or 9 bases. And I'm like, oh... That's what they were doing. They're taking this massive risk expanding... Okay, maybe not 8 or 9, but 4 bases early on. It's so brutal, and then you try to punish it, and maybe you can, and maybe you can't, but it's just a bad feeling. Lurkers, can they get here and burrow? They burrow just outside of the scan range. A new scan comes down, and no, not running away, but killing every single one of those 4 Lurkers. Nicely played there by BruteBrawn. That was a pro-level play. Getting the scan down, getting the stim in, focusing down those Lurkers, and killing them before they could do much damage at all. That was beautiful indeed here from BruteBrawn. What's left to defend is Hydras and some Roaches. They do have the +2 Carapace, making them that much more tanky against these positions, against these attacks from BruteBrawn. Liberators are on the way for our Terran player. Excellent, excellent indeed. Medevacs are healing stuff on up. Pushing in once again is this army right onto the creep, feeling very brave indeed, not even scanning. And coming from the top side are Hydras and Roaches. Queens from the left side. Defender Rod being thrown down, sniping down the Queens almost immediately. Forced to back on up here is Spectral, trying to back up to the safety of the Lurkers. The Lurkers tearing through a lot of these Marines. Wow, absolutely massacring the Marines. The Marauders a little bit more survivable. Finally, the scan comes down, recognizing what is happening here is BruteBrawn. The Liberators absolutely taking down every single drone at this base. A small group of reinforcements try to come through this narrow choke and die to these Lurkers. 10 kills, 17 kills, 8 kills on those guys. Meanwhile, this attack is still going on. There are some spine crawlers, but the tanks can outrange those. The Marauders can actually outrange them as well if they just attack the hatchery. Liberators here with 11 kills, 12 kills, 7 kills on those units, but these reinforcing guys that keep coming through this shortest attack path and just getting destroyed, yeah, not what you want to see, unfortunately. This base still under attack, still isn't quite taking on the hatchery, but there's no mining here at all, so it pretty much has done what it needed to do. Okay, these reinforcements need to stop. BruteBrawn, you're hurting my heart. There we go. Yes, thank you so much, BruteBrawn, for not sending your units to their... Oh my gosh, is he doing it again? He is! He's doing it again! Alright, I understand these rallies are probably set... where are these rallies set, and why did this keep happening? Okay, he stopped it. He stopped the carnage. Liberator and a tank remaining. They should probably just pick up and go home. Right now, it is 4 bases for the Terran player to 3 bases for the Zerg. This base not exactly mined out, but nothing is actually happening here, so essentially it is reinforcing and regrouping with the rest of the units. For his army is BruteBrawn. Resources lost tab, 14,000 minerals, 3,000 gas lost for the Zerg. 42 drones have died. Meanwhile, 10,000 minerals, 2,500 gas, and no SCV kills or losses at all for BruteBrawn. There we go. Back to the production tab. Small group of drones actually taking the 1 gold base here on Ulrena. I like that. I like it from Spectral. Got to do something to get back into this game. If BruteBrawn is going to be passive after doing a nice blow to the Zerg swarm by killing that hatchery, you got to get back into this game somehow. It's 30 to 60 harvesters. The Terran player has doubled up. However, the Terran player is not spending his money very well. Still making Marines and still making Marauders. Although, is anything in production? Yeah, I guess he is doing a fairly good job with his barracks, but I think he needs more, or at least he needs to continually produce from the tanks and the starports as well. I just think if you're on 4 base, as a drop up here lands, and probably will take out the lair at this point, going after the Lurker Den. However, they do manage to get the Lurker Den. Hydras and Roaches showing up once again, trying to clean out the Terran infestation inside their own base, and slowly whittling down these units, picking up at the, yes, just at the last second there is BruteBrawn. More reinforcing units taking spines everywhere. A lot of them are weakened, maybe not completely dead, but whoa, man, not as many Marines and Marauders as there originally were there. The Hydras and Roaches do an excellent job cleaning this all up and finally sending some Marines back to the safe spot. This is this safe space for BruteBrawn. He enjoys hanging out here and drinking margaritas and things. More drones on the way. Again, Spectral recognizes he is way, way down in worker count, and he hasn't been able to kill any SCVs at all for BruteBrawn. And he's trying to make up for that as fast as he can. Having this gold base is nice. Finally, is mining from it. Did manage to pop up. Once again, these should be planetary fortresses or command centers. Just do it. There's no reason to have just a plain planetary fortress or a plain command center in your base as a Terran player. Just don't do it, okay? Replanting this base here is Spectral from GoSpec. And creep spread looking alright. He actually has the creep past these rocks, which is fairly handy. Production tab shows more tanks, more liberators on the way for BruteBrawn. 112 to 91 total supply. Surprisingly not super in BruteBrawn's advantage right now. What does he have as far as his forces go? He has 8 Marauders, 15 Marines, a tank, 2 Liberators, against 17 Roaches, 3 Lurkers, and 5 Hydras. I feel like... man, I don't know. The upgrades are good here. +3/+3 now for our Marine and Marauder army. Excellent, excellent work by BruteBrawn. A little bit late, but you know what? At this level, better late than never. Having those upgrades will be massive help. Choosing to go for Banelings, getting centrifugal hooks. Here is Spectral, as well as melee attacks level 1. A couple good Baneling hits here would be nice, although it's fairly Marauder heavy in this composition. The tanks are here as well. Could soak up some of that Baneling damage. These Lurkers are still here, man. They are metamorphs. 24, 24, 20 kills on all 3 of those Lurkers. If centrifugal hooks finishes... I'm trying to decide if I like Spectral's odds here. Banelings, they're slow, not that good, as we saw in last week's Into the Void. Having slow Banelings, not the best. That might have been mid-rank madness, actually, with the slow Banes. I can't remember exactly what game that was. Anyway, going a long way. BruteBrawn says, you know what? I'm tired of walking up this choke and just getting killed by Lurkers. I'm going to take the long way around and accidentally discover your secret gold base. Did he see it? He's throwing down Defender mode on nothing right now, and other Marines, yes, using the Marines to actually try to snipe down this hatch. A tank coming through here. Are they rallied again? Oh, the spines, extra damage to armored. Oh boy, all the drones do manage to evacuate, but the hatchery at the gold base falls. BruteBrawn in a very, very strong position right now, making another command center, because why not right now? Might as well continue to make bases. The Zerg player has shown no interest in being aggressive whatsoever. Just feel safe and expanding as much as you want, BruteBrawn. Nothing will come to punish you for it. The Banelings do have centrifugal hooks and +1 attack just finishing up. More tanks, more Marauders on the way. Just the Marauder tank composition, really good against Banelings. They can take the hits. They don't die like Marines do. Especially with Liberators in the air. How many Hydras are there in this group? 5, maybe? Ooh, Defender mode circles on up. Do not walk on in there. BruteBrawn is ready for you and waiting for you. Ooh, that Hydra almost went into the circles of death, but did not fall. And look at this, even expanding here on this island. Ah, so smart, BruteBrawn. Excellent, excellent play indeed. Hard for a Zerg player to punish this, really, unless they did get drops or mutas. Or even actually Corruptors with their Corrosive Bile would be able to kill this pretty quickly too. So, I don't know, maybe more risky than I'm expecting. But at this level, I don't know the Zerg even knows that it's there. Defender mode circles thrown down. Will Spectral evacuate his drones in time? No, he will not. Oh my goodness, the drone massacre. Avert your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh, 70 drones have now died. It looks like Spectral's trying to do a flank attack here from the backside with his Lings and his Banelings. His Roaches and his Hydras. The tanks are not in siege mode. If the Banelings can go crashing on in there before shots get off, and no, the Banelings don't really make any hits at all. However, Roaches and Hydras taking down this small group of Marines and Marauders, forced to back out as the tanks are in siege mode now. These stemmed +3/+3 Marines and Marauders just absolutely tearing through the Roaches and the Hydras. They do have +2 Carapace, but not the +3. Lings come on down and take down a small Marauder. But that's about it. Again, the Terran is just starving out Spectral right now. Forced to retreat with his units. The army pushing forward with Brawn, feeling very brave, throwing down Defender mode circles to kill Lings and Queens. Why? Absolutely not. Might as well do that. It's very, very fun indeed. Hasn't done anything with the space. You'll notice the production tab has been absolutely silent for BruteBrawn during this attack. That is a sign of a low-level player. You're not maxed out. As the Roaches come down from the bottom side, Defender mode circles and tanks not in siege mode, and tanks finally getting up to siege. They might actually die, forced to retreat because of the Defender mode circles. Gonna get one more tank. Yes, they do get a tank, but every single unit on the ground for the Zerg army is completely dead there, and that's it. Spectral With the rage quit, BruteBrawn is victorious, and Spectral has left the game. So there it is, our weekly edition of Into the Void. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Again, I hope that I was able to sprinkle some interesting tips throughout this game. I hope it was educational. I hope it was entertaining for everybody out there on my channel. And yeah, again, the big takeaway from this game is, as Zerg, you gotta be aggressive sometimes. Do some scouting. Again, I'm not sure he even knew. Nope. Didn't know about 3 of the bases that Terran had, which you just can't do, especially because these aren't planetary fortresses. Ling run-bys would have done wonders to his ability to hold off the Terran army. Meanwhile, I kind of like the Roach Hydra Lurker idea. It was good. The Marine count was fairly high. I don't know how I would feel about mutas in that specific situation. Corruptors, however, would have been great against these Liberators, especially if the Corruptors had plus armor upgrades. So keep that in mind as well, Zerg players. BruteBrawn, got to spend your money better, but in the end, considering he crushed his opponent, probably doesn't feel like he has any room to improve. Not rallying your units past lurkers or past static defense is also a pretty fantastic tip. Try to avoid that if you can as well. So that's it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin with yet another weekly Into the Void upload. Go ahead and hit that like button or that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter and Facebook, both at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you for watching, and you take care of yourself.
Ashamed by what you have done. There is no redemption, and so you must run. And it's taken your heart and broken your soul. You cannot go back until you're made whole. And you're running into the void. Go searching into the void to find a place you can live, a place you can love. Is it just an illusion? When push comes to shove, there's a light upon you, and you follow it on, looking for a reason and a way to atone. All around you, the planets and stars, you're lost in a maelstrom of a great new unknown. And you're running into the void. You go searching into the void to find a place you can live, a place you can love. Is it just an illusion? When push comes to shove, go searching into the void. And you're running into the void.